Hey everyone, Eric here with XboxEdge.com with a look at Shank 2 for the Xbox 360. The first thing you notice about Shank 2 is that the art style from the first is back. It's bloody, fantastic, and super violent, and it's just gorgeous to look at. It's probably one of the main things that I love about this game. The other thing that I like is the change in controls from the original Shank. The control mechanics in Shank 2 are much better than the original. Now you use the right stick, a quick tap of the right stick to dodge enemy attacks, which is much better than the right stick / trigger mechanics you had to do in the first game. Attack and healing are not mapped to the same buttons like they were in the first, which is a really big detriment to the game. Also, switching weapons is not as deadly as it was in the first. In the first game, you'd switch weapons and there'd be a slight delay between weapon changes, which could be deadly when trying to switch between your range and your close attacks in the middle of combat. The story of Shank 2 is a little weak. It kind of just pulls you through the different random levels, especially in the middle of the game. It kind of just exists as a way to get you to like these random locations to fight different kinds of enemies. Speaking of enemies, there's a ton of different enemies. Some are reskinned to be like the zombie enemy or the tribal enemy or the soldier enemy. There's actually a lot of different variety in the kinds of enemies that you face. There's grenaders that'll stay at the corners of the screen and throw grenades at you. Big guys that'll try and run and do like a body slam on you. Giant fat guys that try to belly flop on you. And then ninja chicks that attack in an entirely different way. It just, having the variety in enemies and the different ways they attack and the different tactics you need to take them down is a really kind of complex addition to the core mechanics of the game. And also it helps to stop the game from becoming repetitive. Once you learn the tactic, you're kind of just repeating the same thing over and over. But then, once you master that tactic, the game throws tons of enemies at you all at once, and you kind of learn and combine the tactics you learned previously. The one main thing I can say about Shank 2 is that it's really challenging and it requires precise movements and attacks, and also incredibly violent. There's 9 unique levels to the single player campaign, and like I said, some of them are more story oriented while the others are kind of just out of the middle of nowhere. In addition to the campaign mode, there's also a survival mode. It's 3 maps and 30 waves, kind of like the Gears of War 3 Horde mode, where you're just kind of staying alive for as many waves as you can. You earn cash to buy different items that help you either defend yourself or distract the other enemies. Basically just keeping you alive until the next round. Survival mode can be played locally with 2 players on the same screen or online with a maximum of 2 players as well. It's addictive, it's fast paced, it's chaotic, and it's really challenging. Overall, Shank 2 is a much better game than the original, at least in terms of mechanics. The story is a little weak, but it does its job to pull you through the levels. With only 9 levels, it may be a little short, but the addition of survival mode adds a lot of extra time to this game, and it is actually really fun, more fun than I originally thought it would be. So XboxEdge.com, Shank 2 gets 4 out of 5 stars. Thanks for checking out my review, and make sure you check XboxEdge.com for the latest on games for the Xbox 360.